WrestleTalk!
Welcome to the WrestleTalk News. I'm Pete Quinnell. In the wrestling news as of late, we've been talking about the backstage goings-on in WWE, with Vince McMahon making changes, others reportedly trying to find ways to make sure that's not happening, etc. But even though Vince has been absent from WWE's backstage, at least physically, there was still Triple H at the helm to run things at the show. Until this week's Raw. Shock horror. According to Fightful Select, Triple H was absent backstage from this week's episode of Raw, with Bruce Pritchard instead running the show in his place, as is standard procedure for if Trips can't make the show. Talent was reportedly not told why he couldn't make it, but those that Fightful spoke to mentioned that there was nothing to it, and it was a planned night off for him. Fingers crossed that that's true, and it was just some time away for him. Fightful is reporting that he's expected back for SmackDown this week, so hopefully everything's all good. And speaking of absentees, Jim Ross recently took some time away from commentating in AEW, as he suffered a fall shortly before the debut episode of Collision. And while he did end up commentating the main event of that show, he sounded far from his best, and he revealed not long after that he'd be stepping away for now. Speaking on his Grilling JR podcast, he gave an update on his situation, saying, "I don't have a return date. You know, Tony Khan's been very nice as far as take all the time you need. My contract with AEW is still in place. I don't have a lot of time left on it, but I got enough. I'm not concerned about that. Either I'm retained or not. I'm just going to take it a day at a time and see how it works out." With his contract seemingly being up soon, is it in 2024 like everybody else? JR doesn't sound certain about his future in AEW, though most likely you'd think that TK would want to keep him around if JR wanted it. Do you think JR should stick around in AEW? Let me know in the comments. Collision might need all the help it can get though at this rate, as the newest ratings for the show are in, and they are not fantastic. This episode of Collision was pre-taped and only managed an average of 452,000 viewers across the show, which is down 24% from last week. This is almost identical to the numbers that Rampage pulled, with an average of 450,000 viewers. Hopefully this doesn't mean that Collision will be resigned to a permanent Rampage-esque aura as a B show. Perhaps it just needs to find its footing as its own show, and having unique talents appearing on that show would certainly help, with one such wrestler stating recently that they requested that they only appear on Collision going forward. Malachi Black recently appeared on Bobby Fish's Undisputed podcast, where he said, "I requested to be strictly on Collision. I don't want people to get the pick. Saturday night, I get to see House of Black. If I give you the option for Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday you're going to go, it doesn't really matter. I'll tune in whenever. They'll be here. I don't want to lose the polish."
Hey, Pete, did you say that was Bobby Fish's podcast?
Yes.
Where's the Malachi? Where's the Malachi? Because he did that thing in Impact where he said, "Where's the lie?"
Now over to Ollie for his Dynamite review.
It's Thursday! You know what that means. My review of AEW Dynamite. In about 5 minutes, the show opened on one of AEW's 3 concurrently running tournaments, the Blind Owen Hart Tag Team Eliminator Cup. I'm struggling to keep up with all of these. With Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy paired against former tag team champions turned passive-aggressive enemies, Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. What are the chances of those two being paired together? Before the match, we were played an interaction between Darby and Keith from earlier in the day where Allin effectively said, "Stop being such a little bitch, Keith." Oh, he lived to regret that, as, much like last week's 6-man, the tag was built around reminding everyone how freaking awesome Keith Lee is. He chopped Cassidy to death. He walked up the steel steps carrying Cassidy with Darby trapped beneath them. He powerbombed his own partner to pull off a Tower of Doom spot. Darby got the win in the end with a Last Supper pin on Swerve for them to advance, but hopefully it's Lee's recent momentum Dynamite puts its stock behind. Especially finally having the blow-off match against Swerve. The Defy guys of Darby and Strickland also factored into the next angle, a video package profiling AEW's youngest signee, Nick Wayne, who Darby took under his wing when his father, Buddy Wayne, who was also Allen's trainer, died. We didn't see much of Nick, so I thought AEW was setting up a month's worth of intro packages, one a week probably to build his in-ring debut. But then later on, Excalibur just announced, Wayne is facing Strickland next week. Not what I would have done. Jungle Boy ran away from Hook backstage again. The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass beat the Bollywood Boys and The Blade in a rare, utterly pointless match for AEW. It was all to set up QTV's Harley Cameron interrupting afterwards, who said she'll prove she's the best musician in AEW next week. We heard from Jon Moxley, who said he's sick of Eddie Kingston complaining about the younger generation when the Blackpool Combat Club are all about building them up in the most toxic way possible. He wants Eddie, who AEW celebrated becoming the New Japan Strong Openweight Champion by beating Kenta, to answer his phone, potentially as an invite for Kingston to be the BCC's fifth man for Blood and Guts. RJ City drew Jeff for Matt Hardy's tag team partner. What are the chances? It's Jeff Jarrett. That's actually, it's quite a good swerve. It's been a rough few months for Chris Jericho. His feuds have only lasted a matter of weeks, and he's lost the last 2 of them. There's only one thing for a Jericho to do when the fans and Booker are starting to tire of him. Gimmick change. But will it be for good or bad, both in moral alignment and quality? After playing up the fact that AEW Dynamite was coming from Canada, and he's also from Canada, cool story, Don Callis interrupted him with an offer. Join his new family. The history between the two men is there. They've been friends for 34 years. They're both from Winnipeg. And apparently, Callis was the mastermind behind Jericho vs. Omega at Wrestle Kingdom, which is news to me. First time I've ever heard of him having a hand in that. Jericho built up the crowd for a rejection reply, but then far more intriguingly said, maybe. Later on, Jericho hinted Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia should fly the JAS nest and find success without him, as they got paired in the Eliminator Foundation Blind Heart Cup. I've totally forgotten what these things are called now. This is a fascinating cliffhanger. I think I want Jericho to join Callis. The two of them together would get insane heat, and it'd be nice to see Jericho in a faction that isn't entirely built around him for a change. That, or it's just to build another filler feud for him with Takeshita. Speaking of directions I didn't think I'd get so invested in, scrap the Cole vs MJF World title feud. I just want them to be best friends and win the tag team championships now. Dynamite's best narrative through line saw Cole and MJF hang out together at the gym, while Max was being overly friendly and Cole was initially standoffish. But the first blossom of bromance came in an unexpected place, bonding over laughing at a very overweight man, reminding them of Tony Schiavone. The little nuggets continued. Cole smiling at MJF's text about them having the double clothesline as their finisher when he should have been more concerned consoling Roderick Strong. Max setting up all of Cole's taunts during their tag match entrance. MJF getting the whole crowd to chant for Cole to join in one of the most old school of old school heel spots. Your tag partner pulling your arm to help an abdominal stretch. And then after they beat Daddy Magic and the Butcher, MJF held a birthday celebration for Cole, which Adam genuinely thanked him for, baby. What I love so much about MJF's character is that beneath the sports entertainment goofiness is a layer of teenage tragedy. That his clumsy, immature attempts to become Cole's best friend come from a place of sincerity. He can be goofy because, at his core, he just wants to be accepted by the people he looks up to. Danielson, CM Punk, now Adam Cole. But he always ends up self-sabotaging because his paranoia gets the better of him, and he thinks he has to betray them before they turn on him like those kids in college did. But this isn't just the Max show. There's an intriguing through line for Cole too. He's the perennial heel who's only recently trying out his blue-eyed babyface side. But the devil seems to be tempting him to embrace his former bad guy ways. And it looks like Cole is starting to enjoy it. And best of all, when they do finally hit that double clothesline to win a tag match, the place will explode. Max's mission to get over the simplest of moves, Headlock Takeover Derby, is trolling at its sweetest. Ruby Soho beat Britt Baker with maximum interference in the Women's Owen Hart Foundation tournament. I've written it down now! Using distractions, trips from the outside, 2 illegal persons holding a leg down for the pin, and the Owen Hart 2022 commemorative title belt. I actually forgot Britt got a title for that as a foreign object headshot. I was looking forward to an actual wrestling match between these two, but Baker felt overly protected, and the heel shenanigans detracted more than they added for me. And the main event saw Kenny Omega take on Wheeler Yuta with a video package earlier reminding us how Yuta was the one to pin Omega at Double or Nothing's Anarchy in the Arena. For a moment, I thought they might have Wheeler win again, going on a streak against Kenny, following a Don Callis distraction, and Takeshita looking awesome in his shiny black coat, attacking Omega from behind. Kenny fought through interference and a whole match of Yuta working over his head and neck, with Omega still feeling the after effects of that hideous Osprey finish, to fire back with a one-winged angel out the corner for the win. A very, very good main event. Claudio Castagnoli and Takeshita attacked Omega afterwards for Hangman and the Bucks to make the save. But with Tony Schiavone doing his best, we're out of time, WCW nostalgia, Dark Order entered the chat to stop Hangman using a chair on Claudio. This week's episode of AEW Dynamite is 80%. But what is the latest way WWE are screwing with AEW? Watch on to find out.
it's like, you know, because Bobby Fish, when he said that thing on Impact, where's the line?
Not a good joke, Ollie.
Oh, yes! It's another reference! It's the Damien Priest Money in the Bank one!